Alright, so by now, right, okay, you should have, I had you look at the agenda, okay, for you to see, right, what we're doing each day in this new module, okay? It's a great thing, especially like if you're going to miss a day, you know that. Or in general, too, okay, November 6th, we're having a quiz over Module 5. You know that right now, okay? Like, as in, there should be no mistake. Just like for those who had no clue that their organizer for some reason was due yesterday, it was literally on the Module 4 agenda since the folder was published. So if you don't believe me, go look. Like, literally. Okay? It's been up there for that long. Okay? So look at that agenda. Right? And again, this pre-assessment. What is a pre-assessment? I know you take pre-assessments in other classes. What is a pre-assessment? Javier?
It's basically the test that has questions pertaining to the subject.
Yeah.
Before you start learning it, just so the teachers know what you know, right?
Perfect.
If everybody knows what, say, the Great Compromise was, the teachers need to go in much detail about that and to go about other things.
Exactly. Okay. It's a lot for the teacher, but then it also is a good reflection on you as well to be able to, for you to see what you already know on this topic that we're about to learn. Okay. So it's not for a grade. Just try your best on it, right? And then, okay, the Pearson PDF, please have it already download to PDF Cabinet. Literally, I've said that for the Module 4 textbook PDF when we were doing the American Revolution. I still had people not downloading it to PDF Cabinet, okay? The, like, PDF? The notes is a different thing. I'm talking about what you were just reading, okay? The Pearson Module 5 PDF, okay? Have it already downloaded so that way you don't have to keep going to Schoology to open it back up. You literally just click on the PDF Cabinet app. Oh, say press on it, press open document, boom, you're there. That's what, 2 steps? Okay? Like versus going through the folders and then having it open and all that. Okay, that's annoying. Okay, have it already downloaded. We're going to be using pretty much this PDF instead of our actual textbook PDF. Now you are more than welcome to use our textbook PDF as well to help you. Now, maybe if you're confused, it actually might be really helpful for you to get a different perspective on it, okay? But we are going to be using that. So let's go ahead and download that Pages document if you haven't already, okay? It's in Module 5, Standard Level Skills. We're doing a folder for today and tomorrow because I'm going to put an assignment that's relating to these notes in there later today or tomorrow, okay? So we're going to be doing guided notes again, so have that downloaded, right? I need this downloaded in Pages. This downloaded in Pages. Okay, we're downloading this into Pages so you can build in. Why did not work? Alright, we are going to head and get started with these notes then. Alright. So, right, we get at the end of the war, okay? And even during somewhat of the war, right, the Americans, they know they have to draw up some plan for the government. Yeah, I mean, literally, think about if we didn't have rules, if we didn't have a government, be pretty chaotic.
There might be like wandering tribes factions, like some sort of post-apocalyptic.
I don't even know. Even like, you know, other places. I mean, think of our school. We have rules for a reason, right? Okay. I know sometimes rules may not be always fun, but can you imagine if our school without rules? It'd be pretty chaotic. Okay. So by the time the Second Continental Congress drew up plans for a national government, many states already had their own. Can someone tell me the difference between a national government and a state government?
So, say Georgia and New York and, Delaware would have already, set up at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But, the United States as a whole had not. So that was a different problem.
Okay, good. So think about this. Okay, national is the whole nation, the whole country. Okay, state is individual states. So Mississippi versus Louisiana versus Alabama. Okay, so right, we have the president of the United States, president of the whole country, right? But then we have a governor of Mississippi, okay, who runs then the state government of Mississippi. Does that make sense? Okay. Yep, it's broken up, okay? So, most state constitutions reflected the rights that they had fought for during the Revolution, including freedom, liberty, democracy, and that people were born with natural rights. We've heard these terms before, right? In the Declaration that we studied, okay? These are all the things that the colonists, now the Americans, right, were fighting for to, break away from Britain with. So a constitution is a document that set out the basic laws, principles, organization, and process of a government, right? We have a constitution today, and we're actually going to talk about how this constitution came about, but just in general, a constitution, right, is a document that set out basic laws for the country, okay, principles, organization, like how the government is going to be organized, how the government is going to process things, okay? That was incredibly rude to have those in listening to music while I'm trying to teach. You can get those back at the end of the day. Javier? Oh. I'm sorry. Yeah, that would be annoying too. I agree. Are we good? Okay, thank you. All right. So, one of the states, Virginia, actually even included a Bill of Rights. So, a Bill of Rights is a list of freedoms that the government promises to protect in its constitution. Okay, so Virginia's constitution included this thing called a Bill of Rights, which is stating, right, it's listing out these are the freedoms that our citizens, right, the government is guaranteed to protect them for them. Right, promising to protect these freedoms for each of its citizens. So some of the things was guaranteed trial by jury, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, right? We talked about freedom of the press back in Module 3, right, with the Zenger trial, okay, being able to publish and write about things that are true in a newspaper, even if they go against, right, the government. It's your freedom to be able to do that. And freedom of religion, right, freedom to be able to practice whatever religion that you believe in. Okay, trial by juries would be in a court, right? You're guaranteed that a jury is going to decide your fate. Okay, so a jury is going to be a group of citizens, okay, and they're going to, right, when you go to trial, you're in court, okay, the group of citizens will determine, right, whether you're guilty or innocent, but then also, yes. Yes.
So like you can't be like, 8 jury members say this person's guilty and 4 say he's, innocent. They all have to say guilty or innocent.
Yes. Good. So several other states, right, including Massachusetts, that were following in Virginia's lead of creating this Bill of Rights, right, this list of freedoms that the government is going to promise to protect. So power of state governments then were divided between executive and a legislature. Okay, what do we think an executive versus a legislature is? Javier?
The executive branch is kind of like, the presidency.
Mhm.
They don't actually have a whole lot of power to execute the laws. The legislature actually makes the laws.
Good, okay.
They kind of have, in my opinion, more power than the president.
They do, but we'll talk about this later on. They'll check and balance each other, right? So the executive branch, right, Javier's right, they enforce the laws, okay, and then the legislature branch are the people that make the laws, and that's why we see voters electing the legislature, right? We have a representative. We've talked about this before. How today we have a representative government. We elect people, right? The election's coming up. We are going to elect people to represent us in government, okay? And so then the legislature are the ones who make and pass the laws. We good? Okay. Oh, thought this on the next one. All right, so under state constitutions, more people could vote. Yes? Okay. So we see just more people being able to vote. So we see white males over 21 who owned land or paid taxes. Women in New Jersey, just briefly. Freed African American men. So we're just seeing more people, right, being able to vote. Now, it didn't include everyone, and you see how limited it is, but we do see more people than what there was before being able to vote. Well, when we talk about it, it was one of the first republics of the world, and of its kind, especially during this time. We good? Okay. So the Second Continental Congress then worked on a national government, right? Something that all the states are finally, they're coming together. We won the war, right? And so we need to come together as one country. Because remember, we've talked about how, especially when they were under Britain's rule and when they were colonies, they were individual colonies, and they focused on that. Right? We talked about how Massachusetts didn't really care what Virginia was doing, right? Massachusetts really only focused on what Massachusetts was doing, right? But now after this, they won the war and stuff. The Second Continental Congress was trying to work on becoming a national country, a nation, right? Coming together and creating that national government. And so that's what they were doing. But many states didn't want to give up that power, right? One, they're so used to being there by individual colonies, okay? But then also, they were really worried about having a central government because they just came from a king who abused all his powers, right? And so they were really afraid and fearful of that happening again. And so, like I said, few Americans saw themselves as citizens of one nation, and they felt more just loyal to their own states. And then they feared, right, replacing that tyranny of British rule, okay, with another strong government. Again, they're afraid of the abuse, right, that the king had. And so they feared with having a strong central government that would be the same case. Javier?
Major part of the Civil War.
We'll talk about that. So in 1777, so before the war is over, right? The war officially didn't end with the Treaty of Paris until 1783. Now, the last major battle was in 1781. But we see the Continental Congress passing the Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation are going to be pretty much our first form of a constitution. And so this formed a government with a Congress. So Congress is our legislature, okay? So the people who make and pass the laws, okay? So with a Congress acting on behalf of the states who held most of the power. So under the Articles of Confederation, the states, every individual state had more power pretty much than the the national government. Okay, so the state governments had more power than the national government. You good? All right. So let's look at some of the strengths and weaknesses now of this first pretty much constitution we had for our country. So some strengths we have, okay, is that it left states free to make decisions for themselves. Like it said, the Articles of Confederation gave the states more power, okay? And again, this was what a lot of them wanted at first because they feared, right, the abuse of having a stronger central government. They wanted, right, remember they were focused so much on and felt more loyal to their own states. It prevented the federal government from gaining too much power. Again, same concept, right? The states having more power. So again, you'll probably hear the terms federal government, national government, and central government. All three terms are referring to the whole country government. Okay, think of like president government. Okay, where you'll pretty much only hear state government referring to individual states. Okay, so federal, central, national are all meaning the same thing of the whole country's government. So each state sent one delegate to Congress. So each state is having the same number of representatives. Congress had the power to declare war, appoint military officers, coin money, operate post office, conduct foreign affairs, and sign treaties. Okay, so it had the power to declare war. So if we were to go to war, right, the Congress had the power saying the whole country is going to war. Okay, military officers, they're appointing people in the military. Coining money would be making money. Okay, operating the post office, this system to send mail. Okay, conducting foreign affairs and signing treaties. This is how they were able to sign the Treaty of Paris with Britain, right? Because it was a power given to them. Conducting foreign affairs would just be interacting with other countries and dealing with them.
One thing about the treaties, I'm pretty sure that the U.S. Congress for some reason never ratified the Treaty of Versailles. And if that is the case, I'm not 100% sure, but I'll have to check later. Then that means that the U.S. is still technically fighting World War I.
We can get on that topic at another time. I would love to talk about that. We can get on that topic for another time, though, okay? All right, so let's look at some weaknesses then. Oops, I'm off this. All right, so compared to states, Congress had very little power, okay? Congress had very little power compared to the states, which we will see may cause some problems here. So Congress could pass laws, but require 9 of the 13 votes to pass. So remember, there's 13 states at this time, right? Okay, so in order for a law to be passed, 9 of the 13, there had to be 9 out of 13 votes to pass. Congress could not regulate trade between states, nor between states and foreign countries. Okay, this means that they could not control trade between states. So if Massachusetts was trying to trade, with Virginia and there's causing problems, the national government couldn't deal with that. They couldn't control that. They couldn't, especially if they're having problems. Nor if a state was to, have a conflict or something with, like, maybe France. The national government could not control that. Well, Ohio wasn't a state yet. So Congress had to ask states for funds or borrow them and could not tax. So the national government could not tax the country. So they had to, in order for the national government to get money, they had to ask individual states for funds or borrow them. But the states can deny that. The states can be like, "Nah, we're good. We're good. We don't want to give you guys money." All right? So again, the national government could not tax the country. States did not have to contribute to the national treasury. So like I said, they could deny. If the national government is asking for money, they can be like, "Nah, we're good." And then there was no court system to settle disputes between states. So there was no Supreme Court. And so actually, if you just saw yesterday, if you or your parents follow the news, they just confirmed a new Supreme Court justice. She is because Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and so then they confirmed a new Supreme Court justice, and the Supreme Court is our top court system, right? And they settle, court. Oh, geez, they settle like court system, court trials and stuff, right? So big ones like you may have heard of, like Brown versus Board, okay? And then we'll look at some of the other ones, but there's no court system. There's no national court system to settle conflicts. So the articles were ratified in 1781 after Maryland initially held out. They, first held out, but then they were officially ratified in 1781. What do you think ratified means, Javier? Yeah, good. All right, so you guys see that red question on your notes? Okay. Why would require 9 votes to pass a law be considered a weakness? Answer it. Javier, I want you to answer it on your notes. I want you to answer it on your notes. Why do you think requiring 9 of the 13, right, would be considered a weakness? Take a few minutes here to answer that.
What is that? Wait.
So it stands out. So it stands out.
No, students.
Mm-hmm. Alright, we're going to answer I'm going to have it answered, okay, but we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Alright, I want to get through the rest of these notes. Okay, so concern over currency and debt. So, I don't know if you know this, but wars cost money, and they cost a lot of money, okay? Like, a ton of money, okay? You will most, like, countries get in pretty much every war, you'll be in debt. Yeah. So, with no power to tax, remember, the central government has no power to tax, okay? It had asked states for money, and many refused. Makes sense, right? They're going to refuse, especially states, and we're going to listen to actually a Hamilton song, and you'll hear it, okay? Many states, especially Virginia, they didn't owe any money because they actually were able to profit during this time. And so why would they go and pay for another state? Again, remember, they're only thinking about individual states here, okay? And so many refused. And so they printed more money, right? And without gold or silver to back it up, it became worthless. If you didn't know, this is why the country cannot print more money, because the money will become worthless, okay? So many states printed their own currency, like individual states then had their own currency, right? And then this caused problems for trade. So you couldn't go, if you were living in Massachusetts and you tried to go to Delaware and pay something with your Massachusetts money, you couldn't pay for it. Delaware only accepted Delaware money. And this caused a lot of problems for trade then, right? Okay. All right. Yeah, screenshot that and submit that for your notes in today's assignment. Okay, just one page of it is fine. Just screenshot just so I see that you have done it. I know we are not virtual, and I know you guys have done it, but just so the complete symbol goes off for you. Okay. All right, go ahead and